Who would have thought it was Beast King Essence blood? It's my son's fault for not explaining it clearly. He just said it was to nourish my body. This kid got a huge bargain. He turned to Mr. B. Little B, you handled this matter very well. Since we know what happened, go back to class. You said this kid poked 5 holes in the blackboard. Make him pay for it. I stared at him intently. Principal, stop joking. Do you really care about this little bit of money? Besides, I didn't do it on purpose. It was only because everyone didn't believe me and mocked me. The old principal scoffed. Didn't believe you. I believed the mocking part. Otherwise, how do you think I got the title of the disgrace of Nanjing's education circle? Where do you think that came from? I immediately wilted. I really couldn't argue with that. Who told me to take his stuff? My hands were tied. I quietly followed behind Mr. B. Only when we got outside did I whisper. B, you wouldn't be that petty, right? The corners of Mr. B's mouth curled up. That depends on your performance, kid. Let me see what your spirit realm is all about. Is a Beast King's essence blood really that miraculous? A Beast King? A high-tier demonic beast. Its essence blood would never fall into the hands of ordinary cultivators. Now, someone had consumed it and entered the spirit realm overnight. Mr. B couldn't help but lick his lips. Should I find my old brothers and go hunt a Beast King too? He touched the scar by his eye. After we left, the smile on the old principal's face vanished. He dialed a secure line. Hello, this is Mo Jiangqi. Xiao Wang, I don't care what method you use. Lock down the file of a student in our school. No one can access it without classic clearance. The person on the other end was shocked. Ha 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 ha. Teacher, stop joking. You're asking me to commit a violation. Don't you talk to me about violations. The old principal roared. Did you commit few violations back in the day? If I hadn't wiped your ass for you, would you be where you are today? Now you're acting all high and mighty with me. Ha 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 ha. Teacher, I yield. Tell me, how do you want to handle this? You're the boss. Worst case scenario, I lose this job and head to the front lines. The old principal finally smiled. That's more like it. Classic clearance activated because there was an issue with my elementary school records. My physical exam had 4 words written on it. Absolute null physique. It completely prevents any chi from entering the body. Meaning, I could never cultivate for the rest of my life. But I remember that people with the absolute null physique have brilliant minds. The current chi guidance system was created by someone with the absolute null physique. That person was a god. That's why the old principal favored me. A moment later, the person on the other end replied. Ah, teacher. All right, if you ever make me do this again, I'm going to jump off a building. The old principal hung up immediately. If you won't do it, there are plenty of students who will. The phone rang again. Hello. His son, wearing a black uniform, looked completely bewildered. Dad, on the phone just now, what the heck is that Beast King essence blood you were talking about? The old principal immediately cursed. Damn it. Come back when you have time. This old man really is getting old. Combat training room. Mr. B watched me take the test. I swung my arm excitedly. The blood key on my 5 fingers was as thick as meridians. It shot straight at the testing stone 10 mo away. The stone let out a muffled thud. A number popped up. Mr. B, is this guy externalization? Is this how it works? Mr. What a freak. You couldn't even use chi just a moment ago. Now you can actually use it for a physical attack. 20 units of chi infusion. That's 3 times higher than a normal spirit entry realm. Teacher, do you think I'm a genius? How long did it take you to master this trick back then? Mr. B's mouth twitched. Ah. He really wanted to slap him to death, but to maintain his image as a master teacher, he cleared his throat. Jangping, this speed of yours shows pretty good comprehension among your peers. But compared to me, you're still lacking a bit, especially the principal's son. He figured it out all on his own back then. I stared wide-eyed. I believed him. All right then, I'll keep working hard. Teacher, I read in a book that the color of chi is related to its attribute. Yellow is the earth attribute. Fire my ass. It has absolutely nothing to do with fire. I fell silent. Then what exactly is mine? It can't be that just because I drank a lot of essence blood growing up, I ended up with a blood attribute, right? The textbooks never even mentioned this. Teacher by thought about it and actually found it reasonable. You might actually be right. I can't make sense of this either. Maybe someone will understand it once you get into the academy. We stayed in the training room for a long time. I learned the spirit realm guidance technique and how to use sharp claws. Blood-red armor-like claws materialized on the back of my hands. They could be used for close combat or launched as projectiles. I stared at them in a daze. Why does this thing look more and more wicked the longer I look at it? I didn't take it too seriously. As for the shallow dog's ability, I didn't dare mention it. I wouldn't be able to explain where the demon core came from. I could only develop it slowly on my own, but I was confident that mastering one would lead to mastering them all. I'd figure out the iron-tailed eagle's sharp claws first. It wouldn't be too late to study the elimination dog's power later. Patting my clear's throat stomach, I said goodbye to Teacher Bai and headed back to class. Cheers and endless questions immediately bombarded me. I got annoyed. Shut the hell up. Keep nagging and I'll jump out the window. Outside the door, Liu was drenched in sweat. He stared daggers at me. Good, very good. So you were just playing the pig to eat the tiger with me. Jangping, it's just the spirit realm, isn't it? Give me 20 days. I will definitely catch up to you. Being defeated by me made him feel awful, but also thrilled. Good boy. What excuse do you have to refuse this time as long as I openly and fairly defeat you? Everything will go back to how it was. After school, I slipped away early. I was afraid of being interrogated, and I had something else to do. I couldn't delay getting those comic books for the little kids at Sangxia anymore, but they were sold out. It was almost 8:00 p.m. by the time I got home in the dark. I never dared to come home this late before. Now that I was in the spirit realm, I had more guts. I hitched up my backpack. Suddenly, I slapped my forehead. I'm so stupid. If I channel my chi to my feet, this little low wall will be a piece of cake. I spat into my palms and rubbed them together vigorously. Cheese swirled around my legs. I was thrilled. It actually works. I pushed off hard, launching off the ground like a cannonball. I landed steadily inside the courtyard wall. I did it. I really did it this time. This chi is too much fun. I tiptoed, getting ready to sneak into my room. Then I heard Yao Yujing cough. All right, son, where are you sneaking off to? I looked up. Mom looked as kind and amiable as ever, but her eyes were red. She had clearly been crying. Mom, have you eaten? Yao Yujing laughed out of exasperation. Looking at her sensible son, she couldn't hold it in anymore. Son, are you really cured? I pretended not to care. I'm cured. Really cured? You didn't even tell us you were better. If the old principal hadn't told me, how long were you gonna hide it? I chuckled sheepishly. I was just afraid of getting your hopes up for nothing, but it's all good now. Our family won't have to live so tightly anymore. Oh, right, Mom. I passed by a cosmetic store today. They said, this is the newest product. Give it a try. I dug a small bottle out of my bag. She really wanted to cry, but she held it back. Her son was just too sensible, just a bit too mischievous. Under the summer flowers, mother and son chatted in the courtyard. My father smoked silently, listening to us. The atmosphere today was joyful. Their son was cured. They could finally live like a normal family. But suddenly, looking toward the crematorium, he frowned slightly. Pingy, now that you're cured, what are your plans? Jiang Wanli asked cautiously, terrified of striking a nerve. I was smart enough. I understood immediately. I finally remembered my status. In a harmonious society, taking the college entrance exam would be the standard advice. But here it required complicated procedures. Once you took this job, your family had to do it for 3 generations. Few volunteered for it because it damaged the body and carried the risk of pollution. It was a job people loved and hated. Loved it for the extra perks and bribes. Hated it because it severely limited your future and affected your descendants. I have been so dizzy with joy that I completely forgot about this. Everyone was envisioning a bright future for me, subconsciously ignoring my background. Dad, what do you mean? He hesitated. How about I keep doing the job for now and I'll pull some strings to get you into the academy. We just won't go through the normal college entrance exam route, okay? I didn't want to make things hard for him. I flashed a wide-8 smile. I have no objections. Whatever works. Her son had finally recovered, yet he still couldn't go to school normally. It was all because they were dragging him down. Why don't we ask the old principal? Maybe he has a way. Jiang Wenli's eyes lit up. You're right. He hurriedly dialed the number. When he explained the situation, the old principal cursed him out. Jiang Wani, you little punk. You think you're a big shot now? I should have beaten you to death back then. It's one thing for you to be a good for nothing, but you want to drag Pingy down with you. Don't even think about it. What's wrong with the crematorium anyway? What you're talking about is just an unwritten rule. Who would dare say it out loud? You don't need to worry about this. I have my own arrangements, you bastard. Where's Xiao Jing? Put her on the phone. He was scolded so badly he couldn't even lift his head. Yao Yujing nervously took the phone. She had heard her husband getting chewed out. Bracing herself, she called out, Teacher, it's Xiao Jing. How has your health been lately? Seeing him look like a schoolboy who just got in trouble, I couldn't help but snicker. The old principal's attitude softened significantly. Ho, I haven't been angered to death by you two yet. Don't worry about Ping's situation, I have my own arrangements. Your senior sister had a similar case before. That kid went to the front lines to join the army and eventually the military recommended him to the academy. Rest assured, with me here, Ping's future won't be delayed. I'll have a word with your senior sister later. He was deeply moved, tears almost falling from his eyes. The old principal snorted, Stop crying, I'm too old to watch that, hold it in. He really just let the tears well up, not daring to let them fall. They chatted for a good while before ending the call. The family looked at each other and smiled. He rubbed my head. Pingji, a person must have a conscience. Your life was given to you by the folks of the South City. No matter what happens, you must always remember that. I hummed in agreement. As long as the kid is healthy, the three of us had a huge feast. For once, Jiang Wanli even let me have a little wine. We didn't go to sleep until 10 p.m. From today on, this family had truly come alive. I lay in bed feeling a bit tipsy. Even though I hadn't eaten any demon beast meat all day, I wasn't starving like I used to be. I guess I just overate the past few days. Skipping a meal occasionally was fine, just like in a harmonious society. When people had plenty of fat in their diet, skipping a meal or two didn't affect them, but there was one problem. I needed to find a secret base from now on. And when I was working at home, I'd have to secretly embezzle some demon beast corpses. Otherwise, how was I supposed to fill my stomach? Thinking about all this nonsense, I drifted off to sleep. In my hazy state, it felt like I had returned to 1000 Buddha Mountain. The temple had completely collapsed. Only the scripture pavilion was still standing. I wandered through the dreamscape. This feels pretty real. The dream is even evolving on its own. Is this what they mean by what you think about? By day you dream of by night? Following my memory, I decided to have some fun in the dream. The bizarre tales I was reading last time. I was dragged out by the old monk before I could finish them. I had regretted it for a long time. I wonder if I can pick up where I left off in this dream. I casually walked over to where I was before. Just as I opened the book, I heard that strange sound again. A smirk crept onto my face. Hoof, this is crazy. Didn't I go into the cave last time and see that stunningly beautiful woman? I didn't expect her to be in the dream too. Thinking of this, I put down the book and chuckled mischievously. I familiarly made my way down into the cave. Arriving at the underground cavern once again, I saw the crystal coffin again. Inside, it was exactly the same as what I saw at 1000 Buddha Mountain. That woman was still there, only the seal on her forehead was gone. There was only a breathtakingly beautiful woman dressed in a red bridal gown lying quietly in the crystal coffin. I could faintly see the corners of her mouth twitch upward. It startled me. Then I realized, damn it, trying to scare me in a dream? I might be afraid of you in reality. But you think I'd be scared of you in a dream? I boldly leaned in, crouching down to observe her closely. So real? It's too real, she even has peach fuzz. Are dreams really this badass nowadays? I was utterly blown away. Leaning in even closer to look, I couldn't help but marvel at the creator's magic. To think such a beautiful woman existed in this world. Every single feature was absolutely perfect, absolutely stunning. Suddenly, just as I wanted to get a better look, my vision went black. When I woke up, it was because I was starving. I stared blankly at the ceiling in a daze. Wasn't I just dreaming? How did I suddenly wake up starving? I checked the clock. It was already 7:00 a.m., damn it. What kind of dream was that? I rubbed my stomach, seeing that the furnace was already fired up. I knew Jangwani was up and had started working. I quickly got dressed and ran into the incineration room. Dad, go take a break. I'll handle this. A new idea popped into my head. I planned to steal some meat and secretly stash it away. I take it out and stew it later. I just didn't know what kind of demon beast it was today. Jangwan Lai looked at his sensible son and sighed, realizing I had grown up. He didn't force himself to stay. I'll head out and buy some breakfast. He handed me the professional Bon knife. Oh, right, son. Are you still drinking essence blood? I shook my head. Not anymore. Don't worry, Dad. Once we gather a full bottle, we can sell it. Jangwani burst into laughter. True enough. With that, he walked out. I looked at the corpse in front of me and carefully inspected it. I was a bit disappointed. It's an iron-tailed eagle again. The yield on these things is a bit too high. My stomach growled. I needed to hurry and extract the essence blood first. After making sure no one was around, I quickly skinned it and chopped it into pieces. I couldn't take off my gloves. With my parents home, I carved out the tenderest two. lbs of meat, wrapped it in oil and hid it. Suddenly, I remembered the riff from that night. I smacked my lips. If only I had a time riff too, that would be amazing. Then I wouldn't have to sneak around hiding meat like this. I'd even have a place to cook it. Thinking about the sheer size of Thousand Buddha Mountain, I started drooling. Suddenly, my vision went black. What the? Where's my meat? Where did my giant chunk of meat go? The meat had vanished. I panicked. It wasn't on the table. It wasn't on the floor. As I crouched down, I vaguely saw the teardrop mole on my wrist twitch. My heart skipped a beat. Good heavens. Could that teardrop mole be exactly like the one on the woman in red inside the crystal coffin? If I hadn't dreamed of her last night, I wouldn't have realized that the woman in red yesterday seemed to be missing her teardrop mole. I used to be obsessed with Cultivator Story magazine. Every monthly issue talked about miraculous encounters, secret realms, and time rifts. There was one story. 10 years ago, a man accidentally entered a secret realm, obtained a token, and took control of the time rift. He eventually became a top-tier powerhouse. It was only after he fell that the truth was unearthed. That's gotta be fake, right? But could I be a lucky one too? I cut another piece of meat and stared at it. Whoosh! The meat vanished. I clamped my hands over my mouth, barely stopping myself from screaming. I might be about to strike it rich. I was just thinking about a time rift, and now I actually have one. God really favors me. I closed my eyes and stroked the teardrop mole. Whoosh! I vanished from the crematorium. When I opened my eyes again, I was standing among the ruins of Thousand Buddha Mountain. The scripture pavilion was still standing. My heart ached so much I couldn't breathe. I slapped myself twice. You deserve it. You really deserve it. If I had known this would become my property, why the hell did I burn it down? Back then, I burned the mountain just to piss off the old monk. It wasn't my house anyway, but now it was mine. As satisfying as it felt back then, that's exactly how much it hurt now. I wanted to cry, but no tears left. Mother of God, all those buildings were mine. Phew, I let out a sigh. To gain it as my fortune, to lose it is my fate. Worst case scenario, I just rebuild it. Even that powerhouse's time rift was developed little by little. The teardrop mold twitched and my heart skipped a beat with it. Looking at the scripture pavilion, I felt an inexplicable fear. Because last night's dream was far too real. Otherwise, I wouldn't have discovered the secret of the teardrop mole. Doesn't that mean that yesterday I probably wasn't dreaming at all? Wait, what did that woman call me again? Zhang Lang? What kind of weird nickname is that? I couldn't figure it out. I decided it was best not to go into the scripture pavilion for now. Anyway, all I needed was a place to start a fire and cook. A man should be content with what he has, never be too greedy. I turned around and walked toward the ruins. After searching for a long time, I found an intact room. I went into the kitchen, grabbed some pots and pans, and started building a stove. But I kept feeling like someone was watching me from behind. I looked back. It was actually a Buddha statue. Humph! Shark claws strike. 5 bloody lions slashed straight toward the Buddha statue. The statue shattered into pieces. Now that feels better. Before long, a small stove was built. I threw the iron-tailed eagle meat in and started stewing it. There used to be demon beasts on Thousand Buddha Mountain. Why didn't I see any this time? Thousand Buddha Mountain wasn't small, and I was starving. I could only suppress my doubts and focus on stewing the meat. After a hearty meal, my whole body felt incredibly refreshed. My sharp claws had gotten stronger too. The power of my sharp claws has increased again. Moving my wrists, the control felt much steadier. Now that I had this treasure trove, I had to put it to good use. And as for the demon beast corpses, how should I embezzle them? Out, I muttered silently. I reappeared in the incineration room. I looked up at the wall clock. 7:50. I remembered going in at 7:30. 1 hour inside was 20 minutes outside, a 1:3 ratio. As for the remaining iron-tailed eagle, I didn't embezzle it. I just threw it straight into the furnace. For the next few days, I kept thinking about how to get my hands on more demon beast corpses. I was sick of eating iron-tailed eagles, and their potential had maxed out. Fortunately, my chi was still growing. Now it had slowly reached 3G. Accumulating to 9G is the peak of the spirit realm. Mastering one main skill would allow me to break through to the next realm. This was the watershed moment. The gap between kids from ordinary families and those from wealthy clans started widening right here. A natal skill was engraved into your bones and stayed with you for life. Kids from wealthy clans could spend a fortune to get high-tier demon cores, extracting fragmented but highly compatible skill frameworks. The larger the operating capacity, the higher their future achievements would be. Ordinary people could only try their luck at the academy. City 13 mandated that high schoolers were not allowed to break through to the fusion realm. The government got first pick of all the demon cores. Only the leftovers flowed into the market. If you wanted the good stuff, you had to get into a good academy. But Themis didn't just give things away for free. You had to make contributions or show exceptional talent. There was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. I had crammed all this knowledge over the past few days. I finally understood why the old principal was so dead set on getting me into the academy. There were no resources on the outside. No matter how talented you were, it was useless without them. The best resources were in Themis. The military had them too, but they were too hard to get into. Pushing aside my stray thoughts, I started pondering over this time rift. I'll call it the heaven-swallowing secret realm with a 1 to 3 time ratio. There was a lot of room to maneuver, but then I scratched my head. I was an ordinary person. I didn't need to rely on time to grind my skills, I relied on eating. As long as I had enough demon beast corpses, my chi would grow and my skills would get stronger. Hey, my eyes lit up. I suddenly discovered another use for the heaven-swallowing secret realm. Guess what? I snickered secretly. If this idea actually works, that would be awesome. But whether I'd be feeling awesome or not was unknown. The old principal, however, was very he was furious on the phone. Jun-shu, you can't even handle this little thing. He's not just my grand disciple, he's also your junior sister's child. Why is it that everyone else gets to just go, pad their resumes, take a stroll, and then qualify for the academy exams, but our kid has to do it for real? On the other end of the line, Jung-soo smiled bitterly. Teacher, I didn't make the rules. This year, all of City 13 has to do it this way. It's an absolute order from the higher-ups. Her status as a senior sister placed a heavy burden on Jun-shu's shoulders. City 13 didn't belong to anyone. He was dressed in a sharp-tailored suit. His long hair was slightly wavy. He couldn't help but rub his forehead as he dealt with his teacher's tantrum. You just think I'm getting old, Junggu, you know me. I haven't asked you for anything in all these years. And now you're acting like this over such a small matter. Are you trying to break your teacher's heart? The old principal sighed and groaned. Junggu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Teacher, you're doing it again. I have a headache too. You know, it was hard to just order the girl around given the past favors, but his heartstrings were pulled. He still remembered how the teacher had humbled himself to help Junggu get a court back then. Jung-shu never forgot that the teacher never asked for anything for himself. He only bowed his head for his students. This debt of gratitude was heavy. Could Jung-shu really turn his back on it? Junggu gritted his teeth. As if making a life or death decision, he said, Teacher, actually, there is another way I can make this work. The old man finally smiled. Tell me, my good student. Zhang Shu stroked the newly arrived documents. His words were heavy. Are you familiar with the Spark competition? The Spark competition? He almost jumped out of his seat. Zhang Shu, I really wasted my affection on you. What kind of nonsense are you talking? Is that something Jangping can actually participate in? He'd be better off just hunting monsters. Junggu smiled bitterly. The Spark competition was as cruel as a blade. Geniuses from all major factions fought to the death. Only the survivors were considered sparks. Jangping wouldn't even qualify as cannon fodder. Teacher, you've got it wrong. As long as he makes it into the top 16. Of the 13 cities by gets the reserve spark qualification. But he can take the academy entrance exam. Once he has the slot, I'll arrange for him to be eliminated immediately. He'll take his exam and the others can keep fighting. This is the best solution I can think of. The old man fell silent compared to going to the real battlefield. This path was much safer. Is it difficult? Ju wanted to laugh and curse at the same time. But looking at his mentor, he could only nod. It's not difficult. The old man smiled. Good, this is a well-chosen path. All right, teacher, since it's decided, then have Jangping come over. The selection is in the third realm. Time is tight, so I'll issue the official order. Bring the boy here, he frowned. 10 star fishers have appeared in the third realm. That's the front line. Zhang Shu nodded. The higher-ups say a spark must be prepared to burn everything. The front line is the most suitable place. He looked deeply at Zhang Shu. Zhang Shu, your teacher has no other skills. I can only rely on students like you. Zhang Shu nodded firmly. Don't worry, teacher. I'll arrange everything. Nothing will go wrong with this kid. I was buried in my notes, desperately trying to catch up on the cultivation knowledge I'd missed. Teacher B arrived. Jangping, step outside for a moment. The whole class stared. Ping, did you get into trouble again? I rolled my eyes. Get lost. They all laughed together, thinking I'd messed up again. But the next day I didn't show up for class. Xiao Huang frowned. What's up with Ping? He couldn't have been beaten so badly he can't walk, right? Everyone was confused. Is Ping done with cultivation? Dongfang Lanzhen stood up. He has his own path to walk. He won't be back for a while. He told me to tell everyone to keep training hard. We'll meet at the academy. The class erupted. What? Ping's dropping out. Quiet down. You all know that if he wants to get into the academy, he has to find another way. Silence filled the room. Someone whispered, so Lan, does this mean we won't be able to hang out with Ping anymore? Dongfang Lan rolled her eyes at the speaker. Didn't I say it? We'll meet at the academy. Jangping is gone to fight for his future. We can't fall behind either. Jangping said he'll definitely make it to the academy. He'll be waiting for you. He told you not to fall behind, Xiao Huang scoffed. That bottom feeder actually dares to mock us. Exactly. Ping's been getting cocky lately. He just got on his feet and already looks down on people. Just wait and see which academy he goes to. We'll definitely get in there too. I have a natural leadership quality. Whether it's a fight or an argument, I can settle it. That's why they tolerate me. I carried my bag and followed the old principal. I waved goodbye to my parents. Yao Yujun was teary-eyed. Teacher, there won't really be any danger, right? The old principal kicked Zhang Wani. His voice was stern. Danger? All you think about is danger. Is there any safe place in this world? The boy has his own path to walk. Don't hold him back. Yao Yujun didn't dare speak. Only Zhang Wani muttered. Teacher, that she's the one who said it. Why did you kick me? The old principal kicked him again. She's your wife. If I don't kick you, who am I supposed to kick? I almost burst out laughing. He glared at me. He whispered a warning. Kid, don't go looking for trouble out there. The outside world isn't Nanjing. You might be a big shot there, but there's always someone better. There's always a higher heaven. Keep a low profile. Yao Yujin also held on to me, repeating her warnings. The old principal curled his lip. Low profile. He made a name for himself in Nang without even cultivating. You think he can stay low-key now? A sharp cry pierced the sky. A 10 long giant bird descended from above. Its beak was like a sword, and the wind it stirred was like a tornado. A man in black saluted. Hello, I am team leader Chen's subordinate. I've been sent to pick up the Spark competition contestant. Who is Jangping? He looked at me. The old principal smiled. Good. Principal, I graduated a few years ago. I had no resources, but team leader Chen thought well of me. He let me pilot this black-winged eagle. The old principal patted his shoulder. Do a good job. I remember your major was exactly this. It seems you found the right place for your skills. The man was excited. Haha, principal. I definitely won't let you down. I was shocked. At this moment, I realized how powerful the old principal really was. Having students everywhere wasn't just a saying. Jang Wani nudged me. Learn well, the teacher is very capable. Don't upset him so much in the future. I nodded seriously. I'll try. Seeing his murderous gaze, I immediately changed my tune. I promise. The old principal shouted at me. Stop doling. Go with your senior brother. I gave him a mental thumbs up. Just like that, he got me a senior brother. Impressive. My principal grandpa. I said goodbye to my parents. I ran over. Hello, senior brother. I said to the old principal, then I'm off. Nodded silently just as I was about to step onto the black-winged eagle. He suddenly shouted, wait! He walked over and pulled a hidebound notebook from his robe. He searched for a moment. He licked his finger and tore out a page. He handed it to me solemnly. Keep this safe. If you run into trouble, you can't solve out there. Call these people. Jang Wani's eyes almost popped out. Teacher, you, the old principal barked. Shut up. Is it your turn to speak? She had her own selfish desires, but she knew better than to speak up. I took the paper, glanced at it, and memorized it. The black-winged eagle took flight. The ride was smooth. I looked at the man beside me. Senior brother, this air shield of yours is awesome. How do you do it? Can you teach me? By the way, how should I address you? He smiled. My name is Jang Nan. I'm team leader Chen's backup driver. It's basic stuff once you enter the academy, but you need to be at the fusion realm to practice it. Don't think about it for now. I clicked my tongue in admiration. You really have to get out to see the world. Senior brother, you're so strong, yet you're only a backup driver. Jang Nan laughed. It was like he was seeing his younger self. Of course, I'm just a backup. Do you know what team leader Chen's official driver's mount is? My eyes widened. What? He sighed. A twin-wing xiao, supposedly a descendant of the king grade. My jaw dropped in shock. A king grade is a mount. Good heavens, even if I didn't know much about cultivation, I knew what that meant. Monsters can be killed or tamed. But high-level ones usually have to be raised from birth, and you need secret methods. That's how you get mounts. They can go anywhere. All sorts of strange creatures, but those were exclusive to the elite. Something like an iron-tailed eagle doesn't even compare to a black-winged eagle. The books mentioned it. An adult fusion realm combatant is only a backup. Ling Long Xuan Wang, each rank is a massive chasm. How strong would a king-grade descendant be once it reached adulthood? For the first time, I felt my horizons were too narrow. I stared at Jiang Nan. I want one too. Jiang Nan smiled. But the old principal thinks highly of you. That notebook is a legend at Nanghai. How so? They say no one knows whose numbers are in there. When I got into the flight academy, the old principal just dialed a number. He asked someone to look after me. At the time, I felt slighted. Only when I got there did I realize that person was in charge of mount selection. That's how I managed to snag this black-winged eagle. His expression was nostalgic. He sighed with emotion. Without that call, he wouldn't even have gotten through the door. Now you know the weight of that piece of paper, right? I really didn't expect it to be so powerful. I pressed my hand against my chest. It felt warm. I can't let the old principal down. The flight was incredibly fast, yet it still took a day and a night to arrive. The black-winged eagle passed through a barrier. My eyes widened. The realm senior brother, is this it? Another hour and we'll be at the third realm command center. That's where your selection takes place. After landing, I followed behind Xiang Nan. Once he settled the black-winged eagle and fed it plenty of meat, we navigated through the streets and alleys. We stopped in front of a 5-story building. He swiped his card, went through security, and entered the lobby elevator. Jiang Nan was surprised. You even know about elevators? I chuckled. I looked around like a curious child. The elevator started. It went down 23 floors before stopping. It was filled with busy people. Rare large screens flashed with data. I couldn't understand any of it. Men and women in black uniforms hurried back and forth, reporting in. A mature female voice came through. Jiang Nan gave a formal report. Chen Jingshu lifted her elegant face. She sized me up. So you're little Ping? She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. She seemed to read my mind. She waved her hand for Jiang Nan to leave. She stood up with a smile. Forgotten me? You had such a sweet tongue as a kid. Each memories came flooding back. My eyes widened. Your Auntie Shang Shang, Auntie Shang Shang. She had visited when I was starving to death. She brought 3 bottles of surprise fragrance. It was so fragrant. Those 3 bottles kept me a third full for a month. A rare, beautiful memory. I'm glad you remember. Little Ping, you're not an outsider. In 3 days, geniuses from all over will gather to compete for 16 slots. The competition is dangerous. If you're afraid, I can arrange for you to be fast-tracked into the top 16. But if I do that, you'll always just be a child to me. Do you understand? I pondered. I understood. I looked up with determination. Auntie, what do you want me to do? The Nanjing bully had a high IQ. I might lack experience, but I wasn't stupid. If she said that, she definitely didn't want me taking shortcuts. Besides, I wasn't a child anymore. Her eyes held a hint of a smile. It's not about what I want, it's about what you want. Do you want to grow up under someone's wing or carve out your own path? You choose. She originally intended to follow the teacher's plan, but the moment she saw me, she changed her mind. This kid shouldn't be coddled like that. The teacher wanted to keep me safe. But can a greenhouse ever produce a true powerhouse? I could be fast-tracked into the top 16. Relying on connections could even get me a good future in the academy, but that would ruin me. She saw a certain spirit in me. It had been a long time. She sensed my cultivation foundation was solid. My physique was excellent. She heard I only practiced basic skills and my sharp claw was already at its peak. To reach this level, the effort required far exceeded that of ordinary people. For a child like this, making things too easy would actually destroy him, so she changed her mind. She'd let me try and she'd be my safety net. 7th level of the mortal realm, far beyond the entry level of the mortal realm. What did this mean? Among his peers, he was no less than the children of great clans. His talent and perseverance stirred her desire to nurture him. One more step and he might even reach the fusion realm. If his exam results were good and he had a fusion realm foundation, it was entirely possible for him to get an excellent core. That would be much better than just struggling in the academy. He didn't need to be at the very top. As long as he made the top 8, she would have a reason to help him to get a suitable natal core. The starting point would be completely different. But this all depended on one key thing: how I would choose. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint her. Good. Since you've made your choice, embrace the challenge. Auntie believes in you. Give it your all. She stood up and patted my shoulder. I nodded heavily. Just you watch. I don't believe I'm inferior to anyone else. Although I accepted the arrangement, I was never content to be just a nepotism hire. Everyone has a bit of a competitive streak. I heard these people are all my age. I want to see who's really stronger. She saw the fighting spirit in my eyes. She was even more satisfied. I went down to wait for the first round of eliminations in 3 days. For those 3 days, I waited patiently. When I got hungry, I went to the devouring heavens. Secret realm to stew some iron-tailed eagles. My sharp claw skill improved again. It was nearly a perfection. But a problem arose, eating iron-tailed eagles. Besides filling my stomach and slightly increasing skill proficiency, could no longer effectively temper my energy. It wasn't completely useless. It was just too slow. Before, eating 2 would give me 1 G of progress. Now, even 10 weren't enough. The gains were negligible. I was worried. Jiang Nan got me a monster encyclopedia for the 3rd realm. I studied the white-feathered chicken, mortal realm skill, golden rooster stand, fluffy duck. Do I even have that many feathers? Looking at these weird options, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Finally, I settled on one, the wind-chasing wolf, mortal realm's signature skill. Once blood trigger is activated, speed increases by 30%. I chose it because this skill provides a continuous buff. Although it's hard to make it a natal skill, it can serve as a powerful support. A 30% boost is quite significant, but there was still a small problem for me. I heard the wind-chasing wolf's inner core could grant me a new ability. So I went to ask Auntie Chen Jiangshu. She brushed back a strain of hair and smiled. Little Ping, the wind-chasing wolf is a good choice. The first round will be in a fisher controlled by the military. They have them there. I chuckled. Auntie, how exactly is the elimination round going to work? She waved her hand dismissively. Alright, if there's nothing else you can go. Don't stay in the private room anymore. Go and interact more with the other contestants. I was stunned. The private room was so nice. Fine. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly. She waved me away impatiently. She turned back to her documents to maintain secrecy. The testing site hadn't been finalized yet, but I knew. The fisher she mentioned was perfect for me. As long as I didn't wander off, it wouldn't be a big deal. Getting the wind-chasing wolf skill depends on luck. Some people eat a dozen cores before getting it. It's a mysterious process. She circled the name Hills. A woman in a black uniform entered. Team leader Chen. It's sealed. Send it to the assessment team for arrangements. The woman nodded. I immediately understood that this was the testing. The entire assessment team sprang into action. They began setting up the wild wolf fisher. Meanwhile, I carried my bedroll and slunk back to a dilapidated school building on the surface, the dormitory. Just as I reached the door, I heard voices. Young Master Lu. The ones coming this time are all elites from the 13 cities. All the geniuses below the fusion realm are here. Right, there are many of them. But young Master Lu is the top genius of Chongming City. He'll definitely sweep the competition. I smiled. The classic villain trope is here. Just as I was about to push the door open, a roar suddenly erupted. Jangping, it really is a small world. I turned around amused. Well, young Master Li, what a coincidence. Li Zimu was trembling with excitement. He couldn't cut it at school and was banished to Nanch. It was all because of his sister keeping him in check that he didn't rebel. Now he'd use his connections to get in here. He fantasized about becoming a spark and showing off his prowess on TV. Seeing my face turn sour. Just the thought of it felt great. But now it felt even better because he'd spotted me. There's a path to heaven, but you won't take it. And you barge into hell when there's no door. This isn't Nanching. You don't have Dongfang land to back you up here. Jangping, you're a dead man. He made a throat-slitting gesture. I scoffed. Young Master Li, don't talk so big. Be careful not to trip over your own tongue, he snorted. Don't worry, I won't use my family's power to crush you. I will defeat you fair and square if you get eliminated. You won't even be worthy of being beaten by me. He was brooming with arrogance. People around them poked their heads out. Isn't that the Li family's young master? Why is he so angry? Who's the guy opposite him? He seems pretty confident. Lu Bichuan also looked out and sneered. Just a piece of trash. Li's gaze sharpened. Luan, you're here too. Enemies meeting face to face. It blew up and both were punished. Lu Bichuan walked out. So what if I am? You're just a loser I've already beaten. Why are you acting so tough? He turned to me. Hey classmate, don't be afraid. What can he possibly do to you? I looked at these two. They were suffering from a serious case of main character syndrome. Thanks but no thanks. Li Zimu is nothing, I don't care about him. He wanted to use me to needle Liz Zimu, but I brushed him off so casually. He was unhappy. He thought I was just posing. Young Master Lu is a top expert at the 5th level of the mortal realm. You're being way too arrogant, the crowd buzzed. 5th level of the mortal realm at his age. His talent was indeed impressive, but some were unimpressed. A short-haired girl turned and left. A boy in white clothes twitched his lips. Don't go yet, guy's being overbearing again. I think the kid has potential, but you can't just force people to join. It's not like just anyone can crawl their way into our circle. The lackey fawning smile is giving me a headache. These guys are even bigger posers than I am. Forget it. Thanks for the offer though. I'm here to compete, not to play house or join a clique. It's better if we just stay out of each other's way. As I move to open the door, Lu Bichuan reaches out to stop me. I don't budge and his eyes narrow sharply. He gives a faint combative smile. Fight didn't break out, but the cameras caught everything. Chen Zhengshu watches the feed, wondering if I'm the real deal. Kid's got some skill. He has the strength, yet he knows how to restrain himself. His temperament isn't bad either. Character is more important than raw talent. He's starting to value me even more. The old man speaks of filial piety. Dunshu, who are you interested in? Oh, come on, sir. It's too early to tell right now. We'll have to see how they perform. The old man remains non-committal. Throughout the evening, Lu Bichuan's lackeys keep trying to test me, but all I can think about is how to catch those wind-chasing wolves and how to do it without the proctors noticing. I just brush them off with a laugh. Lu Bichuan thinks I'm intentionally being difficult. Jangping, talent isn't everything. Resources are vital too, I hope. Thanks but no thanks. Seeing that I'm completely unmoved by his words, he huffs. With a personality like that, you're bound to suffer sooner or later. The world is a cruel place. He feels slighted. He tried to recruit me only because he realized my cultivation wasn't low. That's how these big families operate. But I didn't give him the time of day. Well, that's just who I am. I'm Jangping. There's nothing to eat right now. That fire seed thing has nothing to do with me. Nothing Luan said holds any appeal. The first round of the elimination tournament has begun. A crowd follows the black uniformed officials into the rift space. You have 1 day. Kill the beasts. Their right ears will be your proof. Points are awarded by rank. Do not attempt to cheat. Anyone caught will be permanently banned. The chosen ones stand there in stunned silence. This is way too casual, but I know there are cameras hidden everywhere. My heart sinks a little. Cameras make things difficult to pull off, but whatever. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I'm the first to charge into the wasteland. The wild wolf rift overgrown with thick brush, wind-chasing wolves lurk within. I hop on the bike and blast off. Many people scatter in an instant. 15 minutes later, I arrive at a dense patch of shrubs. My nose twitches. There's a dangerous aura inside. I hide the motorcycle well. A glint of sunlight catches my eye. I spot a camera. No wonder they're so relaxed. It's because everything is being monitored. Inside the command room, Chen Jingshu and a group of officials are observing, recording every move. Not bad. He can sense danger. The evaluation of the prize rises. Updating files. Suspected to have an oldactory type skill. Even a tiny movement earns praise from the old man. The fire seed competition is also a war of information. Ju, this kid is quite interesting. Chen Jingshu smiles. It's all thanks to your guidance, sir. I'm in no rush to enter the brush. First I count the cameras, 86. There are no more than 10 wind-chasing wolves in this patch. Yet, they installed 86 cameras. My lip twitches. This is overkill. It's a headache. How am I supposed to pull this off with so many eyes on me? I'm confident I can kill them. I'm nearly at the peak of the near entry stage with my claws. I don't fare a pack. But killing them just for their ears is such a waste of good meat. I frown lost in thought. I hesitate, standing still. Is he afraid or is he planning a strategy? 10 minutes later, I have an idea. I pick up a stone and nick it with my blade. I hurl it violently into the shrubs. I infuse it with my chi using the technique of the sharp claws. A howl echoes from the distance. A wind-chasing wolf suddenly lunges out right in front of me. I let out a burst of laughter. Facing a 3m tall wolf, I beat a hasty retreat. I'm not here to lure them out and kill them one by one. I keep running. I kick the motorcycle up, hop on and gun the throttle. Vroom. I charge straight into the thick of the bushes. The wind-chasing wolf is completely dazed. The command center is stunned too. Is he suicidal? Instead, I stop and beckon the wolf over provocatively. It pounces. I quickly twist the throttle. It flies into the bushes and crashes into another one, waking it up. In an instant, 2 of them are chasing me. I give a slightly dark grin. Time to keep teasing them. After a few more maneuvers, I've got about a dozen wolves trailing behind me. I'm not using my ability to wipe out these moon-howling dogs yet. I'm just scouting the pack's location, following the same pattern. An hour later, there are over 50 wind-chasing wolves behind me. Everyone watching is speechless. What the hell is this kid trying to do? Is he waiting to run out of gas and die? He's insane. The recorder can't make heads or tails of my actions. Chenzu, send someone to stop this. He's going to get himself killed. There are blind spots in the camera coverage. Chen Junu knows that cameras are scarce outside the exam area. If something really goes wrong, we won't be able to save him. He ponders for a long time. Leave him be, Jiang Nan. Take the Black Eagle and go check on him. Jiang Nan sets off immediately. He's also getting a bit anxious. Don't actually go and get yourself killed, kid. I look back at the 70 or 80 wind-chasing wolves. My face is beaming with excitement. I'm practically drooling. There are basically no cameras around here now. Time to get bold. I start closing the distance. The fastest wolf is about to catch up to me. I look at it and chuckle. Come on, little baby. I touch the red mole on my wrist. The red mole glows. Whoosh. The wolf is gone. Incredible. The rest of the pack is bewildered. My huge companion. Where did it go? I chose this spot specifically. The nearest camera is many m away and it's pointed in the wrong direction. That's why I dare to make my move. I seize the chance while the two wolves are confused. Whoosh, whoosh, they vanish too. The lead group just disappeared into thin air. I pant heavily, watching the dust cloud kicked up by the pack. I lick my lips. It might look easy, but it's actually quite difficult. I have to make physical contact to pull them inside. The swallowing heaven realm isn't omnipotent. If I accidentally provoke something I can't handle, I won't dare go back in there for a long time. But regardless, the meat is already in the pot. Once they enter the swallowing heaven's secret realm, they're halfway to being my dinner. It's only a matter of time before I eat them. After taking 6 in a row, I quickly pick up my bike and keep moving. I can't stay in one place for too long. It's too dangerous. I'll get caught easily. I need to go provoke another batch and then collect them. That's the plan. If I kill them one by one, I'll always be under the camera's gaze. I'd run out of food in a few days to get a high yield. I have to take the risk of baiting a whole pack. Who's going to notice a few missing wolves? Half a day has passed. The tank still has many kame left. I've only used 2 or 3 of it. Now I have 50 or 60 wolves trailing me. That's enough. I'll dash out of the surveillance zone and grab 7 or 8. Jang Nan rushes over, frantic to find me. I spot his eagle too. Now that he's here, I stop collecting wolves. Instead, I start fighting them for real. A few slashes take down the first one. I cut off the ear and toss the carcass aside. Then I hop on the bike and bolt, watching from above. Jang Nan is dumbfounded. He mutters to himself. Wait, you can actually play it like that? He can see it clearly. I'm powerful. Yes, but the wolves are also reaching their limit. Their speed is 40% slower than when they were fresh. This method looks dangerous, but the payoff is huge. Riding a motorcycle doesn't drain my stamina, but the wolves run until they're out of breath. When they collapse, I move in for the harvest. Then I bail immediately, repeating this cycle. Damn, it's practically a cheat code. Jang Nan is stunned. But what happens when he runs out of gas? I head toward a patch of shrubs. I stop the bike and shout, "Hey classmate, come on out. Want to trade bikes?" A student crawls out, trembling. He's on the verge of tears. "Big brother, don't mess with me. I've been causing a ruckus in this area for ages." Who could miss that massive cloud of dust? It's literally a man flying in front with a pack of souls chasing behind. Everyone is avoiding me like I'm a lunatic. I just want to pass the exam. Why does it have to be this hard? I grin. My bike can still go 20 yav. You take mine and go that way. I'll take yours and head this way. I won't cause you any trouble. Okay. The student is practically crying. Big brother, how am I supposed to compete without a bike? At my level, I can't exactly sprint across the wasteland. I smile. If you don't trade, I'm not leaving. What are you going to do? His face turns beet red. If you push me, I'll fight you first and then I'll ride away. You can run and so can I. But I just give him a mysterious smile. Is that so? I flick my wrist, activating my claws. A burst of martial blood. She erupts. A wolf hiding in the brush to ambush us is instantly crushed. Damn. A million curses run through his mind. He cries out, "Big brother, you could have just robbed me." True. With that kind of strength, robbing him would be normal. And yet I'm actually negotiating with him. I'm surprisingly reasonable. I wave him off. No way, we're classmates. We'll have to fight side by side in the future. Robbing you would be bad form. He finally gives in. The dust cloud behind us grows thicker. A massive wave is coming. If I don't leave now, I can still run, but he might not be able to. He tearfully tosses me the keys. We swap vehicles. By the way, take that era's compensation. With that, I speed off on the bike. Looking at the full tank of gas, I feel much more secure. Others won't be running around aimlessly like me. I'll leave enough for them. That student touches the white cocoon's ear and actually feels a bit moved. Aboard the Black Eagle. Jang Nan watches me and picks up the radio. Chenzu, do I still need to follow him? In the command center, Chen Junshu, the old man, and the recorder are all silent. This kid is way too mischievous. I crushed a wolf with a 5G spirit core in one move. Everyone saw it with that kind of strength. Why can't he just kill them normally? Why does he have to protect these sons? Is he just doing it for the thrill? Chen Junshu rubs his temples. Pull back. Let him play his games until he's done. For the first time, he can't read me. Pack is under his breath. Troublemaker. The old man laughs. Zheng Shu. This kid is the one old Mo asked us to look after. He nods helplessly. The teacher also put in a word for him. The old man laughs heartily, of course. He even said, this kid is very well behaved. But looking at this performance, hee ha ha, Chen Zhengshu's face turns slightly red. He knows he's being teased, but what can you do when it's one of your own? What can an elder do? Just clean up the mess, I guess. Let's look at the other contestants. He changes the subject. The recorder silently writes, outstanding strength, but a troublesome personality. Someone else writes directly, he's out of his mind. Damn it. What are you even trying to achieve? Jiang Nan leaves. The attention on me fades. I've completely cut loose now. Not to mention, Lai Zimu isn't doing too badly over there either. Coming from a prestigious family, he heads straight for the brush. His first step is like mine, luring a single wolf. But what follows isn't nearly as flashy as my antics. His eyes glow with a golden light. Himp little wolf, you're going to help me boost my score. He's brimming with confidence. Every move, every stance is steady and powerful. He has the air of a great family scion. Anyone would call him a fine prospect. His technique is solid, combined with his skill assist. He quickly takes one down. He cuts the ear with a smirk and checks his watch. 10 minutes, he's improved. He's encountered beasts before, but that was under the protection of 10 bodyguards, so he's not afraid. In fact, he treats them like old friends. This is what you call a solid foundation. A normal person seeing a 3-in-long wolf for the first time. Something taller than a horse with flashing silver teeth and sharp claws who wouldn't be terrified. He follows the procedure step by step. He figures at this rate, his score will be excellent, at least better than mine. Thinking about how I'll be eliminated, Liu smiles, but maybe he got too cocky. He makes a mistake in his maneuvers. One lure brings out 3 wolves at once. He momentarily loses his footing. Fortunately, he's seen the world. He steadies himself and counterattacks. This is seen in the command room. Not bad. A good prospect, Chen notes. But he's too conventional to achieve greatness. He needs to let go. The group continues recording. Luan, on the other hand, is quite eye-catching. He looks like a spoiled rich kid, but his strength is no joke. He goes to the brush and directly provokes one. 2 aren't enough, make it 3. 4 still isn't enough. He keeps taunting them. He only stops when he hits 5, feeling he's reached his limit. Lu Bichuan has the skill and he's got guts, but he's too impulsive. 5 is manageable. But what about 6? Lu Bichuan's pressure doubles instantly. Among the others, one girl stands out. She carries a 2-in-long blade on her back. One hand on the hilt, the other slightly hunched. What a massive sword. Impressive. Her great strength has already reached the entry stage. Her skills are also focused on physical enhancement. The synergy is excellent. Someone probably knows her name, Shutiano. Watching her take on a pack of wolves alone and actually suppressing them. She truly lives up to the name Heavenly Talent. Then there's a boy with black-rimmed glasses despite having a near-entry 7G cultivation. He fights with extreme caution. Every move is minimized to cause maximum damage. Jugga Jenny. So he's from the Jugga family. That explains it. The Jugga family is famous for their calculations and complex traps. He's a natural-born mathematician. A true variety of talents. The elders nod in approval. If it weren't for an anomaly like me, the assessment would have ended perfectly. I'm leading a pack of followers across the wasteland. Behind me are wolves, bears, and 3-legged golden roosters. The group is getting bigger and bigger, and it's slowly spiraling out of control. I haven't stopped to restock for half an hour. The wind-chasing wolves are getting faster. They're almost keeping up with my motorcycle. The sky is growing dark. Lights flicker. I have no idea where I've run to. Night is better for making a move. I kill a few here and there. I try to grab a few leopard bears, but I don't dare touch them. They feel like more than I can handle. I can only stick to the wolves. For a near-entry cultivator, night is like day. Others don't dare to sleep. They're afraid of being eliminated. I'm just wandering around and I've managed to piss off every beast in the area. At dawn, I hide in the Swallowing Heaven realm to stew some meat. Near-entry 3G wind-chasing wolf, low-level beast bait, too much bone. The bones can be used for broth. The soup slightly increases chi concentration. The meat provides a minor sense of fullness. 80 G of strong liquor, many G of dried chili pepper, 10 G of bay leaves. Helps the wind-chasing wolf meat retain a hint of wind element insight. Can be absorbed randomly. Review. Hard to swallow, but if you're starving, you can have a taste. The review is still snarky, but it's much better than before. It went from not fit for dogs to hard to swallow. The fire is actually improving. I heat the oil in the pot. In goes the wolf meat, in go the spices. Outside the beasts are going crazy. They're all looking for me after being toyed with all day. They're holding a grudge. They all want to eat meat to vent their rage, but the human has vanished. How could they not be furious? They're scouring the area. The other contestants are having a miserable time. They wanted to outwork everyone during the night, but instead they ran into a beast riot. Hile beasts have appeared. They hide in the brush, not daring to move or kill. They wail in their hearts. Their scores were already bad enough. The command room is at a loss. Elder Chen, where did that kid go? The beasts are wild. Who knows how many cameras have been destroyed? Chen Zhengshu's expression is strained. What? Are we so broke we can't afford a few cameras? This is an assessment accident. It's because the contingency plan was poor. How can you blame the contestant? Everyone turns red with embarrassment. We didn't know there would be a contestant like him, Jiang Nan thinks to himself. Elder Chen is as protective as ever. I'm lucky I was born into this faction. Finally the sun comes up. The beasts have calmed down since they couldn't find me. I've eaten my fill. I take a quick nap in the hidden treasure pavilion before sitting up. Time to count the loot. 35 right years in total. At the very least I won't be eliminated. But then again, you never know since Auntie believes in me. I can't let her down. I catch 5 more wind-chasing wolves. That makes 40. I just need to eat the wolf meat quickly. Otherwise it'll go bad. The troubles of the fortunate. I wash my clothes. The smell on them is too delicious. I let out a satisfied burp. I cautiously step out of the swallowing heaven realm. The pursuers are gone. I chuckle to myself. I pick a direction and floor it. Around 10:00 a.m., the contestants start trickling back. None of them look happy. Lubai Xuan is no exception. This is so freaking annoying. This night was the biggest welcome to the real world slap I've ever had. How'd you do? Terrible. I'm probably at the bottom. Sigh. Just what I got during the day. I'm doomed this time. My dad's gonna kill me when I get back. Getting knocked out in the first round is embarrassing. Don't even get me started. I don't know what got into those beasts, howling all night instead of sleeping. Me too. Amidst the chatter, Lu Biquan and Lai Zimu's expressions softened slightly if everyone struggled. The rankings might not change that much. They look toward Zhug Jiangyi and Shu Tiano. They wonder how much their true rivals harvested. Looks like almost everyone is here. The assessment team has arrived. Checking the watch. 3 minutes left. Anyone who isn't back on time will be disqualified. Everyone is looking around for someone. Lizu is looking for me. He hasn't returned yet. How could he not make it back? 1 minute remaining. Just as they were about to make the announcement, a loud roar echoed through the air. A young man came charging in on a sputtering motorcycle. He drifted to a sharp stop and leaped off the bike. Lizimu's pupils constricted in shock. I caught him staring. I picked up my backpack and asked with a grin, surprised to see me back. Lizu just huffed. He didn't respond, but I didn't care. I took my place in the crowd. In the middle of the group, the guy I borrowed the motorcycle from was crying inside. Good grief. How is this man still alive? Others might not know what caused that riot, but surely he does. He looked absolutely resentful. Still, they didn't dare say anything. I'm not someone they want to cross. A few guys eventually shuffled over behind me. They whispered, "Hey boss, how about we roll with you?" From now on? Before I could even answer, the head examiner spoke up. Time's up. We're tallying the results now. The staff blocked the entrance. Anyone returning after this will receive no score. Only then. Did I realize I had cut it incredibly close? I felt a bit lucky. If I'd overslept, I would have been screwed. I also heard the 3 guys talking behind me since. They technically donated a bike to me. It felt wrong to ignore them. What were you guys saying? They looked at each other and let out a sigh of relief. Turns out they'd all been robbed by me. The kid with acne in the front repeated, "Boss, let us follow you." I stopped smiling. "Follow me. This is a selection trial." "We mean after we get out of here. Which academy are you heading to?" "Boss, we heard Mies allow students to form combat teams." I finally caught on and chuckled. "Let's focus on getting out first. I don't take weaklings." I was feeling pretty good about myself. Suddenly, the examiner barked at us, making me jump. They were glaring at me, looking absolutely livid. I must have given them a massive amount of extra paperwork. And here I was still whispering, "One more word and you're disqualified." I could practically feel the waves of anger coming off them, but I didn't even do anything. A few days ago, they were all smiles with me. This guy in front even used his meal card to buy me dinner once. How did the ship of our friendship sink in just one day? The results took half an hour to tally. The outcome was shocking. The top spot wasn't mine. It wasn't Chuyan Xiao's. It wasn't Zhuge Janice. It was someone no one had noticed. Xiaoqi 53 kills first place. The crowd immediately erupted. Who the hell is Xiaowei? Damn. Is there even a major Xiao family in the 13 cities? The assessment team ignored the chatter. They looked toward a dark-skinned lanky boy in the crowd and said, "Congratulations, Xiaowei. You are ranked first in the initial round, 53 points instantly." Many people were indignant, especially Lu Baquan. He was so sure he'd take the top spot too. Lose by that much, but no one dared claim it was rigged. That's impossible. When Xiaowei stepped forward, someone gasped, "Crap, it's the mute." Kid, the mute label immediately piqued everyone's curiosity. Even the examiners had a slight smirk on their faces. This kid is much more impressive than I am. He never stopped for a second in the Forbidden Forest. He hunted beasts one step at a time. Even at night, he was out there hunting bravely, not just brave but cautious too. Others were afraid of being surrounded, especially those from good families. The worst that could happen to them was a lower rank. Safety came first for them. If they didn't make the cut, they had other options. But for Xiaowei, this is a rare life-changing opportunity. He's the top commoner genius of our city. He deserves first place, I'll give it to him. The guy is a total grind lord, the whispers continued. For someone that hardworking, this result seemed fair. Then the second place name was announced. It was actually Su Tianhao, 48 kills. Third place went to Zhuge Jiangyi with 45. Blue Buan's face grew darker by the second. He only had 38. He was already out of the top 3. Once I heard the scores for second and third, I stopped paying attention. I knew my 40 kills would definitely get me in. It was just a matter of where I'd land. This was exactly what I wanted. I didn't want my performance to be too flashy. Little did I know I was even more flashy then. The first place winner, but I didn't expect to be fourth. Man, this score is actually pretty good. Lu Baquan's face got even darker. Limu looked miserable too. He had one less kill than me. He was far behind. What surprised me though was that the 3 guys standing behind me also made it to the top 16. Seeing my skeptical look, they said helplessly, "Boss, or just a bit weaker than you. We're not actually trash." I didn't expect to be called out like that. I gave an embarrassed laugh. "Stop calling me boss. I'm just an ordinary guy." The 3 of them didn't care about formalities. They immediately started calling me Brother Ping. Liu Betuan and Liu were green with envy. That son of a already has lackey. I worked so hard and couldn't get any. So how did he manage it? They were gnashing their teeth in frustration. Those in the top 16 stay behind. I was itching to go home. I was curious. The intensity of this spark competition seemed a bit low. What kind of talent could they really select this way? The next day I changed my mind. The top 16 was where the real test began. According to the strategic department's projections, a beast tide will hit the 3rd domain tomorrow. You will be split up and integrated into the many cities' military. This is where you'll be putting your lives on the line. If you're scared, you can leave now, the examiner said sternly. The 16 of us were in an uproar. We're only in the mortal realm and we're already facing a beast tide. Luan voiced the question everyone had. The examiner remained. Turn. No one could argue with the rules. Make your choice now. Those staying, take one step forward. The group hesitated. Xiaowei was the first to step out. Su Tianxiao and the others followed immediately. I obviously wasn't gonna back down. What did I come here for? Anyway, the assessment team wouldn't just send us to our deaths. Feeling no pressure, I stepped out. Seeing their boss step forward, the 3 lackeys naturally followed. Not a single person out of the 16 withdrew. The examiner finally smiled. This was just the first test. Courage. Someone who dares not face a beast tide has no right to represent the Menith city in battle. Fortunately, you all passed. This step was crucial. The 16 of us realized then that the difficulty of the competition had just skyrocketed. The psychological pressure was immense. Good. Very good. Since you're all staying, then let's continue. The assessment team knows you're all geniuses. Your cultivation is nearly at the peak of the mortal realm. To be safe, we've prepared Spirit Realm Beast cores for you. Everyone froze. Spirit Realm cores. No one looked happy. There was only confusion. They all looked toward the assessment team. I was the only one looking confusedly at my new followers. One of them explained, "Brother Ping, we all came here for the Spirit Realm, but not for some random low-grade core like this. We're here for the final reward. Breaking through with an ordinary beast core limits your potential. You'd have to put in massive effort to advance later on. That's why the first high-grade core is so critical, giving us a core of unknown quality now. Isn't that just ruining our future?" It finally clicked for me, except for a wild cultivator like me. Everyone else had been preparing for this for a long time. But what I didn't get was why the assessment team was doing this so late. I know what you're worried about, but which is more important, your future or your life? Even if these cores are only profound grade, they're enough to bridge the gap. I agree with the first half of what he said. But the second half, who would want a profound grade core? We came here for one thing, to be the best, but I didn't really care. If I break through, I'll just eat more to make up for it. Xiaowei, however, carefully tucked his away. To him, this was a dream he could never have reached on his own. Luan and the others looked disdainful. Even Shu Tianxiao and Zhuge Jiang Yi didn't hide their contempt. In the command center, the old man pointed at the screen. "This kid has a good mindset." Zhen Zhengshu laughed. He never even heard of this before. The old man shook his head. He heard the explanation and his expression didn't even change. He's got a strong heart. I'm actually looking forward to his performance. Is the beast tide stable? Not entirely, but we can carve out a testing ground. I'll personally oversee it. We'll let some suitable beasts through, then get to it. We were carried by black-winged eagles and air-dropped. This was the front line of the third domain's defense, our home. Giant trees towered into the sky, blocking out the sun. I ran my hand along a tree trunk. I remembered a grim fact. These trees grew from the corpses of humans and beasts. Beasts are killed only for their essence, blood, and cores. No one cares about the bodies. Frontline soldiers have high resistance to pollution. They don't need protection. It's different inside the city. Ordinary people can't handle it. Any beasts that escape the rift must be incinerated. There are remains everywhere. 99% of them are monster bones. Human comrades are brought back whenever possible. Every soul deserves to return to its roots. I shake off these distracting thoughts. I pull out the map and trace the path from start to finish. The first phase of the mission is simple. Reach the mark point and join a combat squad. Then take on the second phase, but this time things feel a bit different. Contestant Jangping, do you copy? Please respond. The transmitter is tilted. It's gonna be a headache trying to pull off some side business now. How do I get around this? My eyes dart around as a thought strikes me. There's always a way if you look hard enough. He take a few steps forward and then come to a halt. Damn, there are way too many monsters here. My sense of smell is almost overloaded. The monster tide certainly lives up to its reputation, but I'm actually getting excited. The opportunity is finally here. I slowly draw the long blade from my back. I grip it tight, shifting into a combat stance. 1 step, 2 steps. Suddenly, it's like I've tripped a wire. Owls and whales erupt from up ahead. Over a dozen old friends come charging out. My eyes light up. Smiling moondogs. I'm practically drooling. I have 3 skills, Sharp Claws, Scent, and a 30% speed boost. Scent and speed are up by 30%. Sharp Claws comes from the iron-tailed eagle's bloodlust. With that empowerment, the power is doubled. Even if I'm only nearing the perfection stage, I can manifest phantom strikes to kill enemies from a distance. Rongjing is something I barely dare to dream of. My sense skill comes from the smiling moondogs. Too bad I've only ever eaten one. The proficiency is stuck at the mastery stage. Don't even get me started. Skills are divided into 5 stages: entry, minor, mastery, perfection, and grandmaster. Each level is a world of difference. The gap is immense. But if I eat them now, once I'm done with these smiling moondogs, just how powerful will my nose become? Inside the command center, Jiang Nan frowns. Director Chen, 10 spirit refined smiling dogs at once. I'm afraid he won't be able to hold them off. Ten Jingshu gave a cold laugh. You're underestimating him. He caused such a scene in the first round. You think he's just some amateur. Once he deals with this batch, then in the second and third batches immediately, but that's 50 dogs including a half-step spirit realm alpha. If he can't win, he can run. If we don't humble him a bit, he'll think he's untouchable. Yang Nan went silent. This Ping kid really was a bit too much. Facing the 10 laughing moon dogs, I smirked. Here they come. Hey there, beauties, I leaped up. Landing on a tree branch 5 m high, I swung my long blade. The next second, the blood-red sharp claws condensed into a giant hand. It gripped the hilt firmly and swept outward. The 3 leading laughing moon dogs were slaughtered on the spot. Jiang Nan and the others gasped. Holy crap, he's insane. This is the kid who was causing trouble everywhere in the first round. God, how old is he? He's just a high school senior. He actually managed to train his skill to the perfected level. Is he a genius or just a glutton for punishment? No wonder. No wonder he dared to mess around so much in the first round. Turns out he actually has the skills to back it up to be able to reach perfected level in his skill while still in high school. That's an automatic ticket into any academy. But because of that, they were curious why I even bothered with the Spark competition. When they opened my file, everyone went silent, some even felt a bit ashamed. My God, this kid actually grew up in a crematorium. What were his parents thinking? That's just ruining his potential. He looked at the confident Chen Jingshu. Director Chen, did you already know about Jangping's strength? Chen Jingshu smiled slightly. He is one of our own after all. Everyone was stunned. After I finished off the first 3 dogs and took a defensive stance, the remaining 7 dogs were enraged. They swarmed me all at once. Glowing orbs began to form in their mouths. My heart tightened. I knew this was the laughing moon dog's greatest trick, their ranged moon disc attack. I dodged and woo through the air, a concentrated burst of fire. The giant tree behind me was blown to splinters, but I wasn't backing down. I swung my blade and the fierce battle began. 10 minutes later, I stood tall with a smirk. I shaved my blade after wiping the blood off the edge. Is that all? To be able to take on 10 same-level laughing moon dogs at this age. I was definitely among the elite just as I was about to collect the bodies. My eyes nearly popped out of my head. Are you kidding me? Did I just stumble into a whole nest? 50 laughing moon dogs were charging toward me. I didn't have time for the bodies. I turned tail and ran for my life. I didn't have a motorcycle this time. I had to rely on my own 2 legs. Even at top speed, I was barely staying ahead. The human was flying in front and the dogs were chasing behind. It was a pathetic sight. This hit everyone in the command center roaring with laughter. Haha, this is killing me. The kid looked like he was invincible just a second ago. Now he's running like a stray dog. Haha, let's see how he handles this. But he won't actually be in danger, right? Someone looked at Chen Jingshu. Chen Jingshu was also curious. He watched closely. Don't we have other candidates to watch? He then returned to his private office and made a phone call. Hello, senior brother. There's something I need to tell you. I was in a real bind now. The nearest dog was less than 5 meters away. I could feel their skills whistling past my ears. I kept thinking I can't take much more of this. If I wasn't carrying this camera, I'd have hidden in the heaven-swallowing secret realm long ago. I instinctively blocked the camera lens. The closest dog had already lunged at me. I cursed under my breath. Screw it. Let's do this. The moment we made contact, I pulled the laughing moon dog into the heaven-swallowing secret realm. But I didn't expect the others to get even more frenzied. They chased me even harder. He ran. They chased. Whenever I got the chance, I'd snatch one away and occasionally strike back. Eventually, the number of dogs began to dwindle. But I was reaching my limit too. I'd run dozens of miles on foot. If it weren't for the cheese strengthening my body, I would have collapsed long ago when there were only 6 or 7 left. A dog with half-red eyes let out a piercing howl. My heart jolted. I'd realized a long time ago that this one was the leader. Feeling its aura, I knew I couldn't win. This thing was at least in the spirit realm. I ran even faster. I didn't even dare to look back. I don't know how many hours I ran, but I suddenly realized the dogs had stopped chasing. That half-step spirit realm alpha was pacing back and forth. It didn't dare to come any closer. Its eyes were fixed on my direction, but it wouldn't take another step, seeing they'd given up the chase. I let out a sigh of relief and ran for another 5 or 6 minutes. Then I climbed up a tree. I exhaled sharply. Those bastards are relentless, and their noses are too good. I couldn't shake them off, it's true. Laughing moon dogs have an incredible sense of smell. I couldn't escape. I heard there's a powder to counter it, but I didn't have any. Who would have equipped me with that stuff? But when I looked at the map, I frowned slightly. I stared at it, feeling annoyed. Where the hell am I? I had no idea where I'd run off to. Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar erupted. The shock wave made my head ring. I instinctively curled up against the tree trunk. My eyes were glued to the source of the sound. I was stunned. 5 people in black uniforms, military men. They had tiger insignias on their sleeves. They were clashing with a 10-and-tall giant beast. The 5 of them held their positions surrounding it. They were all using ranged skills. I was so shocked my jaw hit the floor. Holy crap, the giant wind beast scale. Isn't that the giant wind beast signature move? God, what is that? Flame burst. Molten giant beast specialty. All 5 of them were using techniques from the cultivator's handbook with total ease. Their proficiency was incredibly high. Most importantly, that giant beast was actually dodging. Skills missed and hit the ground, starting fires. The wind fanned the flames, making them roar even higher. I was too scared to move. I gripped my wrist tightly, ready to jump into the heaven-swallowing secret realm at any moment. The battle was at least a mile away, but I could still feel the scorching heat and the pressure waves. My eyes gleamed with excitement. This is what a real cultivator looks like. Could this be the spirit realm? But a second later I realized I was wrong. The giant beast went berserk. The aura at release made it impossible for me to even stand. This definitely isn't the spirit realm. The spirit realm couldn't possibly be this powerful. Then it must be the profound realm. I was guessing, but a second later I was wrong again. As the giant beast resisted, the 5 of them unleashed their ultimate moves. The leader released a suppressive force. Boom. Even from a mile away, I felt like I'd entered a special domain. An indescribable emotion washed over me. Surrender, obedience. I couldn't tell. My jaw was clenched so tight that my teeth were grinding. A king's domain. I'm going crazy. The king realm. That's the absolute peak. The king realm is something ordinary people never get to see in their entire lives. Now he's standing right in front of me, clear as day. If I weren't struggling to even stand up straight, I'd definitely be beyond excited. The man also frowns slightly. He glances in my direction. Then he goes back to focusing on the giant beast. The pressure on me suddenly lessens. I've really had my eyes open today. I've witnessed a high battle. A kinged battle might not destroy the world, but it's certainly enough to shatter mountains just to watch this spectacle. I forced myself to endure the pressure and didn't run. I'm already here. It would be a waste not to see it through to the end. A Kinger battle isn't something you see every day. That giant beast is naturally king grade too. Otherwise, how could there be 1 king grade and 4 profound grade powerhouses surrounding it? After half an hour, the battle ends. The weapons are lowered. The demon beast is dead. The king grade man breathes a sigh of relief and begins clearing the battlefield. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor, while the next corpse waited in silence. He watched the shadows gather. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. The memory refused to fade. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. He watched the shadows gather. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. The memory refused to fade. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. He watched the shadows gather. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor while the next corpse waited in silence. The memory refused to fade. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. He watched the shadows gather. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. The memory refused to fade. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. He watched the shadows gather. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. The memory refused to fade. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor while the next corpse waited in silence. He watched the shadows gather. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. The memory refused to fade. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. He watched the shadows gather. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. The memory refused to fade. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. He watched the shadows gather. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor while the next corpse waited in silence. The memory refused to fade. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. He watched the shadows gather. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. The memory refused to fade. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. He watched the shadows gather. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. The memory refused to fade. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor while the next corpse waited in silence. He watched the shadows gather. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. The memory refused to fade. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. He watched the shadows gather. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. The memory refused to fade. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. He watched the shadows gather. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor while the next corpse waited in silence. The memory refused to fade. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. He watched the shadows gather. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. The memory refused to fade. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. He watched the shadows gather. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. The memory refused to fade. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor while the next corpse waited in silence. He watched the shadows gather. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. The memory refused to fade. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. He watched the shadows gather. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. The memory refused to fade. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. He watched the shadows gather. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor while the next corpse waited in silence. The memory refused to fade. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. He watched the shadows gather. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. The memory refused to fade. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. He watched the shadows gather. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. The memory refused to fade. Ash drifted across the crematorium floor while the next corpse waited in silence. He watched the shadows gather. The furnace light painted every metal surface with a dull orange shimmer. The memory refused to fade. Hunger tightened his stomach, turning each passing smell into a dangerous temptation. He watched the shadows gather. Somewhere beyond the walls, the demon beast crisis continued changing human lives. The memory refused to fade. Every warning carried the weight of an old tragedy nobody dared to repeat. He watched the shadows gather.